Good morning, everybody from Manchester, live here on Forever United TV. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. The transfer window has slammed shut last night. Well, it was slammed shut pretty much from the get-go when it comes to Manchester United business this month. We'll talk about what David Ornstein said this morning and a warning ahead of what we would hope and expect to be a blockbuster summer. Warnings from David Ornstein and concerning words for all Manchester United fans, I feel anyway. I want your opinions on this because there is a lot for Man United to get through and a lot to do from now until the end of this season regarding these transfers. Yes, the transfers do get sorted and are already in discussions for the summer. So we can look at the real deals now. We can actually, now that the January window is over, stop looking at the waste of time transfers, the stopgap transfers. They're not so good at players that you could possibly get in the transfer window in January. But start looking ahead to the summer window now. Want to get into that? I want to update you on several players as well in and around Manchester United's transfer talk. Wharton, Hackney, Anderson, Carlos Baleba as well, Marcus Rashford, and all of the other transfer rumours leading in, all off the back of what Ornstein has said. So I want to get your thoughts on that this morning. I want to get you into the live chat and let's get talking and debating this now. How happy are you that the window is shut? Because it has been a hindrance. It has been a pain in the ass. The hope that kills you, basically, is Manchester United in January transfer windows, isn't it? And this one was a definite damp squib. Last night, obviously, Man United they loaned out several academy players as we went through. And we're now looking ahead to the real deals, the proper ones. What is going to happen? Because you're going to hear more and more now, week on week, about transfers that are happening. The big thing on what David Ornstein is saying, I want to get into this because this is my biggest concern as well. And a few people have already picked up on this online from what Ornstein actually said. So, in terms of what Manchester United's plans are, David Ornstein last night, deadline day, Sky Sports, prime time to get this type of interview going on, made his appearance on Sky, and he was talking about Manchester United's summer transfer window. Manchester United, and this is from David Ornstein, Manchester United's summer transfer window may not be as crazy, in his quote, his words, as some expect, but the club has plenty to address. Straight away, the opening line there is, calm down. We're already putting the word out that it isn't going to be the summer that Manchester United need. That's from the get-go. This is not acceptable, obviously, in many Manchester United fans' eyes. And I do think that this is an early warning sign. Now, things obviously change, and I think it's going to come down to how well Manchester United do. This pending on, obviously, Bruno Fernandes's future, Harry Maguire's future, things like this. He carries on to say, central midfield is the top priority, especially after Casemiro's confirmed departure, leading to ongoing links with Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba and others. As we know, that is the general talk. Left side attacking roles are also in focus after missing out on Antoine Semenyo, with Rashford and Sancho set to leave. Rashford and Sancho really were never in the equation. Now, obviously, we've had this piece from Laurie Whitwell saying that the club feed the Athletic stories, that being a load of garbage, and Whitwell shutting that down. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, actually. So it's not like Manchester United are feeding these stories out. These are sources that the Athletic have got that are feeding information out from the football club in certain players and agent side of things. That's what I think this is. And it's like it says there, left side attacking roles are also in focus after missing out on Antoine Semenyo and Marcus Rashford, with Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho leaving. Well, Rashford and Sancho have never been in Manchester United's plans. So already they're looking at bringing somebody in for players that are already missing. Like, there should have been somebody else in already to replace the likes of Rashford and Sancho if you're making this story. So, look, no returns for Sancho and Rashford is one thing, and obviously we know we're after a wide player anyway because we went for Semenyo in the early weeks of the January transfer window. So, no real news there, nothing to get excited about. He also goes on to say, defensively, Harry Maguire's future is uncertain. This is his option year. He's due to leave with no new contract news, and central defence remains a key area. That backed up by what Andy Mitten has always said as well, and Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic on their podcast. So Ornstein's backing that up. The new head coach, this is where it sort of really concerns me anyway. The new head coach potentially Michael Carrick or someone else will be one of 2026 biggest stories. Earlier signs under Carrick have sparked hope among fans that those at the club however embryonic it is, but as always, action will speak louder than words. So he's already warning of the major saga being the manager. We know this. So for my look on this, I'm saying Manchester United need to already have an idea of who the manager is going to be before the season ends. If they go into the summer with this being the main story, look, I get it. There's some managers that they might be going for that are in the World Cup. I get it. But we don't want this story to overshadow everything that's going on in the transfer market. And that, I think, is the biggest thing from what David Ornstein said there. This is going to be the biggest story of the summer. It shouldn't be, because Manchester United should already have their candidates lined up by the end of the season. And if Carrick does well, maybe that's all put to bed quite early, and we can just get on with transfer business. The fact that he's saying it's not going to be as crazy as some have reported, that the MEN have reported this morning that Manchester United's January save is set to unlock a blockbuster of a summer transfer window. And then you've got Ornstein playing it down instantly. Like literally hours after the transfer window shuts in January, you've got Ornstein coming out and saying it's not going to be as crazy as some are actually reporting. Now we go in and say that David Ornstein is top dog. Everything that Ornstein says pretty much happens. And we know this. It's Ornstein, it's Romano. They're the top two. We look into other stories and we look into other reports and we talk about them. But when Ornstein says something like this, you kind of think, right, okay, how is this going to go then? How are Manchester United going to approach the summer transfer window? There was a great piece in on X from Swedish Ramble, who was talking about teams that are in Europe right now and their injury lists on average with the amount of games that you play if you're in the Europa League or the Champions League. It's looking likely that United are going to be in Europe next season. So the games are going to go up to a minimum 15 to 20 games more if United do well. You'd expect us to do better in the league and the FA Cup. And obviously we got a guaranteed near enough with the way that the Champions League and the Europa League is set out, 10 more games in Europe. So you're already into the 50 games bracket. And teams that are in Europe are competing at that level with more than 50 games on average this season. And we know this is going to happen. It's a great stat that comes out. On average, there are 6 injuries, and there are key injuries within there in them squads. Can you imagine Manchester United right now with this squad with 6 injuries to first team squad members? You cannot see us actually progressing with that. Now, you're talking about Manchester United's squad already that we've got right now. First team players that have featured in this season for Manchester United. You're already looking at a squad that you're going to get rid of Xerxes and Agati out of. Yes, fair enough. They're not first 11 players, but we're talking an extra 10 to 15 games minimum next season. And if you're losing 6 players through injury on average throughout the season, you've got the uncertainty of Leichhardt Martinez at centre-back, who we're hoping never gets injured again, but he gets an injury every single season. You've got Mason Mount, who wasn't on the team sheet again this weekend, the uncertainty of his injuries. Will Luke Shaw last another season? So you've got them added into definitely Agati and Xerxes probably leaving Manchester United. Casemiro's gone. So there's one of your leaders. Like Ornstein said, there's no new contract for Harry Maguire. So straight away there, I'm thinking about injuries within a squad that happen naturally and on average with every single team in Europe right now. And you can see it with City, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea. They're all, and Liverpool as well, they're all having similar sorts of numbers in terms of injuries. It's inevitable. So you over-prepare for that. If Manchester United don't go out and buy 6 or 7 players, with the players that we're looking at here that are leaving, with the concerns of the injury-prone players already, with more workload involved, with a higher intensity of football, Manchester United are never going to succeed. We're already here getting stories of transfers for this summer being played down and leaks coming out about Manchester United not being as crazy. We need 2 midfielders. And people keep on shouting out about the 2 midfielder thing. I know I go on about it a lot. I'm like, get past that, please. We need at least 3 midfielders in because we're getting rid of 2 and we already need 2 right now. So again, United are leaving themselves very short if they don't get into this summer transfer window and get at it. Look, I'm looking ahead, obviously, and this season will play out, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this season for United. I'm really confident that we're going to be back in Europe right now. Obviously, it might not be Champions League. I think it still will be with the games that we've got. And obviously, with us being 5 points clear now of that 7th place, which is out of Europe, might not even be out of Europe. That might actually be the Conference League as well. United are going to have more and more games next season. So we're banking on European football being back. There's no one in that league that's going to overtake Manchester United below Chelsea and Liverpool. I'm pretty certain of that right now. I mean, just to add the injury side of things again, look at Newcastle. Look at their injuries as well. More workload. You can only go off the stats and the facts, and that is that the 6 teams that are in Europe this season, and you could add Villa to that with the Europa League as well. Look at that. Boubacar Kamara, McGinn, Tielemans, all of these players now being out, big players being out. Can you take that calibre player out of Manchester United's squad, the equivalent of Manchester United's squad going into next season? No, you can't. You're not going to be able to compete unless you spend big and you bring in more players. United need to bring in at least 6 players this summer transfer window, and maybe some of the academy players can fill the other gaps. I'm actually looking at Harry Maguire possibly getting a year extension and a centre-back coming in to cover, because we cannot rely on De Ligt clearly now with this chronic back issue. You've got Leacher, who's a worry. Can you rely on Lenny Yoro and Eden Heaven and their first Champions League season? I don't think you can. And Maguire has been out for a sustained period of time as well this season. So he's there for cover, really, and experience. So you're looking there already at centre-back like you might actually need to buy more. And then you move into midfield, forget it. Like, seriously, you're already losing Casemiro. And if you're only going to bring 2 in, then what's the point? Like, you're giving the manager absolutely no chance whatsoever with that. The forward line needs more support for Benjamin Sesko. Yes, out wide, we're not too bad. We are blessed with plenty of number 10s and attacking options there, but at some point they're going to need a rest also. United need to spend over 300 million on at least 6 first 11 type style players. Otherwise, next season you can write it off. And look, I don't want to play down our chances and be that miserable Man United fan that says we're not going to stand a chance, but I just don't like the talk coming out here already. And I know it's a long way to go and this could obviously change, but you know how this works with United. The proof is there. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, all the teams that have been successful in European and Premier League seasons over the last 10 years have spent massive amounts of money. You don't win and you don't compete unless you spend big and you get the right players. United have wasted money thinking that they can get average players and overpay for average players. Now, I don't think United are ever going to overpay anymore. I think the structure in place is good, and I think we aren't going to have our pants pulled down again in the transfer market. The players that we're actually bringing in are good players. We need a summer like last summer within the midfield area, but with 6 players and not 4. The only issue with last summer's transfer window was there weren't enough players brought in. The players brought in were perfect. Bang on, brilliant recruitment for Manchester United. This summer, that needs to happen again, and another 2 of that level of player on top of what we've got already. And I'm saying right now, keep Harry Maguire on another year and buy a centre-back. And then, obviously, if you've got Agate, can you afford to let Agate go as a squad player right now? You've got to bring in another 2 midfielders. If that's it, then you can't afford to let Agate go. That's not enough. If Agate goes, which I think he will do, then you need 3 more at least in central midfield. I'm going to get into the talk on the stories going around with certain players right now already. We've got talk of Anderson, we've got talk of Adam Wharton and Hayden Hackney coming up in the show. But to set off them talks and rumours from David Ornstein, are you worried as a Manchester United fan we might already be getting the early warning signs that this is going to be one of them summers again? Look, I've said it there. I was really happy with last summer's transfer activity and the business we did. I just don't think there was enough. And I understood that maybe you could look at it as a season where you haven't got European football. You didn't need to bring in as many. But this one is going to be completely different. If United go in and say, last summer was great, and we do the same again this summer, I think we fail next season. It's my early prediction. And that's not on the quality of players that we've got. I think inevitably injuries will come in, the tiredness, the intensity of a European season on top of needing to stay in the top 4, which is what we need to do to be sustainable, that needs more players this summer. And I don't like the fact that we're already being told it's not going to be as crazy as what some people are reporting. And this has come from the top dog himself, David Ornstein. So how has he got them noises and them ideas, and why is he talking about that? That's the question that I'm asking right now anyway. But get into the chat, everybody, and let me know what you're thinking. Let's get into some of your comments early doors. Manny has kicked us off with a super chat. Thank you, mate. He says, we make Europe and well be cannon fodder in both the EPL and the Champions League because we won't have the depth. Depth is my biggest concern. It is. Mark says, that's it, Adam. Buy all the potential youth and use them as injury replacements. That's their version of development and sell for profit. It's always been the plan. Look, I don't mind academy players coming through, but academy players are only going to succeed if you've got a sustainable first team. As sustainable, I mean consistently performing and playing at the highest level. For that to happen, you need to invest big, like Liverpool, like City, like Arsenal, like Chelsea. If you don't match their spend this summer, at least, because let's not forget, we need to get ahead of them, so we need to spend more. If you don't match, Spider coming right down in front of me. Hello, Insa. Nice, wasn't it? Hey, what do you think? He's not happy. Not happy. You go sit over there. Go on. Anyway. Yeah, Incy's in there and he's not happy with the transfer activity either. But I was saying then, if you don't match the big teams in terms of spend this summer, the caliber of players that they're probably going to bring in, then you're going to get left behind. And it's going to be that same old scenario. United make Champions League and we don't invest enough to stay in it. It's been the last decade of Manchester United's transfer windows, hasn't it? I know it's been predominantly the Glazers that have been doing it, and now we've got Ineos. It might be different. We don't know is the answer to that, because this will be the first summer where Man United, under Ineos's control, could be in the Champions League. So let's see if this summer is any different. But again, warning signs are telling me that we should be concerned, at least as a Man United fan base, that we're not going to do what's necessary. If they feel that this is enough, then we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. They will spend in the summer according to the demands of whatever level European football or not. That's how they think. Well, we don't know, like I said, because Ineos haven't been in Europe yet. Ineos have not had European football to fight for. They had it last season in the Europa League, and they spent in that previous summer a decent amount of money. We brought in, 5 players in that window. We need to do something similar, but with better players. So you need the window that we had first under Ineos, where Zirkzee, De Ligt, Mazraoui, that sort of player was coming in to them sort of numbers, but to the quality of the previous window where we had the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo. You need the proven players to come in. So you're going to have to spend a lot more, because you're not going to get deals like you did for Mazraoui and De Ligt. They had 0 Premier League experience. If you're going for proven players, the highest quality at a younger age, you're going to have to accept you're paying 30, 40 million, maybe more, on each player to get them in. And that's what I expect from this Manchester United board. I expect them to go big on these players. It's all about the calibre of player, not how much money you're spending. The spend will take care of itself if you get the right players. City have proved this. Liverpool have proved this. Chelsea have proved this by always consistently staying in the Champions League. Arsenal spent 100 million on Declan Rice years ago. It was seen as overpaid on a player, but look where Arsenal are now. Consistent and always there because they bought the right player. You have to make sure that you have to get the top targets. Anderson, Rice and Caicedo are the best midfielders in the league, so the market will doubtlessly price him at 9 figures. I expect that to be the case. I do. Carrick doing well is backfiring. Sort of like, I know where you're going with that there, but still, if Ineos have got this plan of the manager or the head coach not getting involved in the transfers, and the head coach has to work alongside Ineos, then there's no excuse. You could say that Carrick might not kick up a stink about players, and he might be the perfect yes man. So all a yes man is doing, under these new structured rules, is waiting for Ineos to do the business. So Ineos have to make these transfers happen. So all focus is on them and not Carrick anymore. You cannot judge the head coach if he's got no say. You can judge the head coach on what he produces with these players. And right now we're saying that Carrick's good because he's got 3 wins in a row against 3 very good teams doing well in the Premier League this season. If that continues, then Carrick's great on the training ground. That's what we need. But then we look to Ineos. We cannot even judge Michael Carrick on the summer transfer. Carrick's dealing with players that were already at the football club. He's had no support in January. And if he's still in a job come the summer, then we really can't be looking at Michael Carrick in terms of the players coming in. It's full focus on Ineos and their structure. And that's what we're looking at now. And that's what's in question, really, because this new system that's in place now is going to be all focused on what Ineos do and what they want to run Manchester United like. Ant says with a super chat, can't spend what you don't have. Jimmy is more concerned about buying land and pushing a new stadium. Be very surprised if it's not cheap players. Now, I disagree with that, and I don't think it's going to be that case. He knows that Manchester United need to have a team competing in Europe to fill that stadium. Otherwise, the stadium doesn't work. I will give them that. I don't think it's going to be cheaper players. I think United will go for the better player. I think United should be going for 6 good players, 6 top-notch players. I don't think we're going to get that. I think there'll be maybe 2 or 3 of the best, and the other half will be made up by lesser players. United need to go out and break the bank, basically, to compete next season and stay there. So I don't think it's going to be less. I think United do have money. I think we do have the money there. I think with what's leaving Manchester United and obviously the new financial fair play rules, this is the time to push the envelope. Champions League money will pay a lot of what Manchester United do in this transfer window. They will be able to really balance their books. So leading up to this, the thought of them not going crazy or going big is really off-putting because the way that the new squad to ratio rules work with the financial fair play benefit Manchester United probably more than anybody else in the league. And there's no excuse to not spend massive this summer. There needs to be a £300 million spend for Manchester United. I keep saying the same thing. I get what you're saying there, Ant, with a super chat, mate. I do. Gary says, personally, I hope we give youth players Lacey and Fletcher, twins, Kone and Thwaites a chance next season. So with a couple of top players signed, we can be competitive for the top 4 next season. See, this is the thing. I think it's 1 season too soon, maybe. Look, I think they'll come in. I think they will play a part, Gary, and it will be great to see that. And I really hope that that does happen, like I said before. But United cannot be expecting these players to come through and compete and do the job if we're under pressure, the results haven't gone well, and the spend that we've laid out in the summer for the players that we have done isn't really cutting it in the league next season or in other competitions. You can't expect them academy players to come in and pick up the mantle. It's too much pressure on them. It's not fair on them either. So I don't think that is going to be the case. I think the majority of United's next season is going to be I reckon on new players being in rather than academy players. Look, the academy players right now, there is stories on the academy players. We'll get into them in a minute as well. I'm going to get some more comments from you guys on this and what you're expecting the spend to be come this summer. Many, I think we've been so used to looking at things so pessimistically that it's stuck in the rut, to be honest. We're actually in a very strong position going into this window when you look about it. Look, we are strong, and this is why we don't want any excuses. We don't want any make weights. We want the best of the best, and that's how Man United are going to compete. It's proven. I've just used them stats and facts there from the last 5 years, you could say, in terms of the teams that were at the top and competing, the money that they've spent. Proven. Teams in Europe and the injuries that they get this season, again, proven. It's too much. This squad right now, if we do release the players that are expected to be released, then we can't survive off buying 4 players or something like that again. It's game over. The injuries will pile up. And unfortunately for us, as good as these players are that we're probably going to bring in, they're not enough. They're not enough. 6. I keep saying it. 6 players need to come into Manchester United of that good quality. Carl in the chat says, we need to spend 200 to 300. We always do. As I said yesterday, every manager gets money. It's spending it right. That we have an issue with. Yep, definitely as well. Champions League money, player sales, reduction in player wages plus money they give for transfers. We will have money to spend, and you and all other YouTubers will be doing a show in a week or 2. We have money to spend. I know we've got money to spend, mate. I've just told you we've got money to spend. So, Dixon, again, I know I'll be doing that show. I just don't like the noises being put out that United won't spend that money. If they think, and like the whole point of this video, again, if you listen to what I said at the start of it, is if they think that they can have another summer like last summer and that be enough going into next season, you're going to be left short. I've backed up the argument by bringing up the injury stats. I've backed up the argument by how much was spent and how many players were brought in by other clubs ahead of us over the last 5 years. It's all backed up and it's all got context to it. So I will be talking about the money because I've always said that United have got this money. It's whether they decide to spend it. It's there. Perfect foundation to go out and build a proper squad for next season is there for this summer. I hope they do it. I really do. We spent 900 million plus on Erik ten Hag and Amorim. The money has been there, but Erik ten Hag made horrendous decisions on players. Maybe this is why Ineos are saying that they're going to do all the spending now. A lot of pressure on them, and at least we can, like I said, not look at the manager and just look and focus solely on the ownership model at Manchester United. Anyway, the talk of Hayden Hackney being a player that United bring in instead of Adam Wharton is there and is in reports this morning as well. Hackney was subject to a late bid from Nottingham Forest in the transfer window. That was turned down. That was 30 million quid in January. So Hackney is an option for Manchester United. And if they don't get Adam Wharton because maybe Liverpool get him, then that's going to be the type of signing that United go for. Is that good enough for Manchester United? This is the thing that I'm saying right now. Man United should be getting at least 2 or 3 of their top targets this summer. If we've got Champions League, yes. Obviously, if we don't make Champions League, I won't be holding Manchester United up against the other clubs because players are going to go to Champions League football. If we don't get Champions League, you can forget about Anderson and Wharton. It's as simple as that. And then maybe Hackney comes in alongside of Carlos Baleba. I think there is a plan B. But it's always going to be a debate, isn't it? Is that player good enough? Is option B the right one? Is he good enough? Is he as good as the first option that we had? It's going to continue and continue, isn't it, as to what are the right types of players for Manchester United. The debate will be there. We know how good Hackney is. We know how good a season he's having. And Middlesbrough will be in the Premier League going off their form at the moment next season. So, again, Middlesbrough might want to keep hold of their captain yet. We might not be able to get him. But we will if we spend and if we make offers that clubs cannot refuse. That's the point we're making. Beforehand, like Carl said, we've wasted money on several players. But these players are the right players. Your Whartons, your Andersons, they're the players that United need to be going out and spending a bit more on because you know what you're getting. You're getting the best of Premier League. And that's gold. That's Man United being sustainable. That's United being profitable because we're competing for the best trophies. If we get top 4, and I asked this question the other day actually, if we get top 4 this season, top 5, we're in the Champions League next season, what are our objectives for next season? What should we be doing? That, I think, is really, because we didn't expect to be in the Champions League this season, did we? We didn't. What are we looking at for next season? If we get top 4, what's next for Man United? Staying in the top 4 and winning a trophy? That's probably fair enough, isn't it? Like, stay top 4, win the FA Cup or something like that. I think that would be a good season after this one. And then the season after that, maybe Omar Barada's prediction of the 2028 title winning team might actually come true. You never know. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what Manchester United's objectives are and their targets are for next season if we do have Champions League football, because I think United can go at least to the back end of that competition and get to the last 8. And you just never know. United have already proven that they can beat anyone on their day. The two of the best teams in Europe this season so far have been City and obviously Arsenal and Liverpool. When you look at that table right now in the Champions League, this season so far, Man United have beaten the best of Europe. I don't rate Barcelona. I don't rate Real Madrid. You could argue Bayern Munich are probably one of the other standouts right now under company. But any given day, United could go far in that competition. To stay in top 4, win the FA Cup, I think that would probably be a good season for United. But give me your thoughts. What are you expecting? I know it's a big if. We've got to get Champions League this season. So, again, it's not all. But I expect United to be in Europe now anyway, with where we are in the league and the points that we are clear of everybody else. The downplaying of next spending is important. I think we should never wear your best suit to the Ferrari shop, guys. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Greg. I get what you're saying. I just don't like the fact that we're hearing about the manager talk taking over the summer. United have already said that the structure in place is going to be the one that buys the players and the transfer activity will come through that. So I expect United to still be busy. I do get your point as well, Greg. Like, play it down. Yeah, so you can maybe get a good deal. I do get in terms of the amount of players we need as well. Pop your comments in now. Half a team. If you want squad depth, I reckon United needs 6. And that's with me obviously taking into consideration our injury records with certain players and the players that are obviously going to leave this summer as well. How many do United need? And you could add in then the academy players on top of that. You could add in then your Orozco's coming from Colombia. Maybe Jimmy Thwaite's a bit older. Obviously, we've seen Jack Morehouse come back from his loan at Leyton Orient as well. He's had 14 starts for Leyton Orient this season. They're not having a great season. But still, Jack Morehouse is back. There is talk of him going back out again. But again, Manchester United bringing back academy players or certain players, maybe in certain areas of the pitch. I do believe Shea Lacey will start to become a first-team regular now. We scored a hat-trick yesterday again. The under-21s is just below him in terms of that level now. I think he's shown already that he is more than capable of stepping into a Manchester United starting 11 and being on the bench. Well, maybe on the bench in a matchday squad, not starting 11 yet. But if you're looking for a wide option, does Shea Lacey actually come into the equation and give you another option? Does Patrick Dorgu give you another option alongside that as well? And then you just go and look at fullbacks, because Dorgu was a fullback. He's now seen as a wide player, a winger, whatever you want to say, with his output this season. Lacey's on the other side. So you could say you've got Cunha and Mbumo for the left and Dorgu. And you've got Ahmad and Shea Lacey for the right, mixed in with Mbumo as well, going either side. You've got 5 players there that can play the 10 roles or wide roles that Carrick plays in that front 3. You've got Bruno, you've got Mount, you've got maybe Mainu for that 10 role if you need in depth there. You need another striker in, bring that in. Midfield, obviously, we know what we need there. Like I said, 3 central midfielders need to be brought in this summer. Fullbacks, centre-back. I think we're all right at goalkeeper because we got Vitek coming back into Manchester United this summer. So overall, I think United's squad depth, if you bring in 6 starting 11 type players, I think the squad is probably good enough. Another striker, 3 midfielders, I'd say a fullback and a centre-back. That brings you 6. You're bringing back Vitek for goal. I think that would probably just about survive with a few of the academy players coming in as well and a few of them maturing. Maybe? Let me know what you think. How many are we bringing in, everyone? Adam, this just proves how important Champions League is for a variety of reasons, and should we make it and Clownios screw us, bro. What happened to get the Liverpool game called off will be repeated 10 times. Well, Ineos did come out and say that they want to topple the top dogs. They want to defraud, and they have to spend that type of money and bring in that many different players. That's what needs to happen. It does. Please, by the way, if you're enjoying the content, pop a like on the video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Get into the comment section. I do believe that we are going to be quite busy now. Even though the window is short, I think with the amount of transfers that Manchester United are linked with and what we should be doing, there is going to be plenty of stories circulating from this point. There is one already in the headlines this morning, which is about Elliot Anderson going to Manchester. It's a race. It's a straight race between the red and blue side of Manchester again. It's Semenyo all over. United are only in this equation if we get Champions League football. And now we're looking and solely relying on what we've got squad-wise to compete and stay in the Champions League because we didn't spend anything in January. The big risk from Ineos, a huge risk, in fact, in not bringing somebody else in January. But then again, you could always argue the right quality wasn't there. But Anderson, in the reports again this morning, it's City or it's United. They're the two that are going for him, and they're his options. Obviously, you could try and stay at Forest. I doubt that because he wants European football, and it's going to come down to him keeping his England spot probably as well, competing at the highest level. You get a little taste for it and you want more of it. It's the same with Wharton. He is going to be going to Manchester United or Liverpool. That's the calibre that we're competing with now. And if United have to spend more on them two players to get them in, then that's what this fan base will be expecting. That's what we need. That's what's going to convince us that we are serious and Ineos are taking this charge serious. I think that is probably the biggest part of this. It's how much more Ineos are willing to go to get the right player. Going down and buying someone cheaper isn't going to cut it. I don't think anyway. Like, great if it works. Great if you find a Dorgu at the right price. But we know in that midfield, you have to be a certain calibre of player to compete. Look at the money that's been spent by the teams above us in central midfield and try and tell me that you can find a make weight and then compete with them teams. Go through it. League leaders, Arsenal, Zubimendi, Declan Rice. Do we carry on? The amount of money that they have spent in that midfield is scary. Yes, they brought in the likes of Norgard as well as backup to that. That just shows you how far you have to go to try and win a league title. Central midfield is key. You go to Manchester City, I mean, seriously, you're looking at Rodri. You're looking at them going competing with us for Elliot Anderson as well. All of them midfielders that City have brought in. Liverpool have done it before with Gravenberch, with Mikel Fernandez, the millions that they have spent. You look at the fact that even with Newcastle to a certain degree, the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Tonali, and what they've got there. Yes, Joe Linton was converted into a central midfield player, but the importance of having top quality in central midfield drives you forward. Casemiro being one of Man United's best players in our best period of the season tells you exactly that as well. Mainu running more miles than playing the best that he's played in the United shirt alongside Casemiro's purple patch is the reason Manchester United are competing. Yes, defence plays a part and the forwards play a part. But if you have got that gaping hole in your midfield that isn't good enough, and then the pressure on them other two areas of the pitch, defence and attack, are always going to be over-pressured. And when they don't succeed, you end up failing. United, luckily at the moment, are scoring goals. And scoring goals is keeping us up there. Casemiro coming off showed exactly where Manchester United's weakness is the other day against Fulham. And that nearly came back to bite us on the arse. Luckily, like I said, we're scoring goals and we pulled ourselves out of the shit. So, again, proof is there. Midfield is key. Fix it or forget it. That's what Manchester United's summer transfer window is going to be. And Anderson needs to be up there at the top of that list alongside Wharton. And then it's Baleba. And then it's maybe Still. Then it's maybe Hackney. That's how it should be in the pecking order for me. Proven Premier League and international players. Anderson's top because he's playing alongside Declan Rice in that England side as well come the summer. If you have to spend 100 million on Elliot Anderson, you spend 100 million on Elliot Anderson because that's what your competitors are going to do. Man City will spend 100 million, no problem, on Elliot Anderson if they have to get him. They know how important it is. Now, obviously, now that the window is shut as well, Manchester United, in other business and other news, will be getting down to sorting all of the nitty-gritty stuff out. Like Kobbie Mainoo's contract is now going to be sorted, and the talk of the new deal being put back on the table again from when it was before. That is all important for Manchester United now as well. So get all of the smaller little jobs out of the way now before the summer is the important bit for Manchester United. So Kobbie Mainoo's contract is going to come to the fore again, and that is going to be heavily discussed now over the next few weeks and months before the season ends. So expect that to be sorted. Another story that came out this morning was around Marcus Rashford. He is not leaving Barcelona in his eyes. He's willing to take a big pay cut, according to the reports in the Mirror and a couple of other websites this morning that I have seen, and stay at Barcelona. Staying at Barcelona is the top priority. And I think that's down to Manchester United playing their trump card as to saying, well, Ruben Amorim's not here anymore. If Barca don't pay the price, then Rashford doesn't stay at Barcelona. So Rashford's doing what he can. He wants to stay, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to make the deal happen financially. And that is working within the Barcelona wage structure to stay at the new camp. So that, again, is another one that's come around. And United obviously now can get down to business in sorting that out. Obviously, with less than 6 months of that deal left, United need to start negotiating now. And now that the January transfer window is short, and this is what I meant the other day, when the January transfer window closes, it gives you then the chance to go out and get all of the other proper business done. So the importance of finalising Rashford before the end of the season, getting Kobbie Mainoo's contract sorted. We have had confirmation from Fabrizio Romano that the Rasmus Højlund deal is now all done. We already know about Casemiro. Sort out the Harry Maguire situation now. Sort out Bruno Fernandes. All of them jobs and all of them tasks now for Manchester United need to be done. We cannot allow them to filter into the summer transfer window. Like, we need to get other business done and out of the way. I expect United to be really busy now for the next 3 months leading up to the end of the season. It is crucial for United to get everything organised, bids in, offers on the table, ready to go, and we'll keep you updated with all of them as they come through. Let's get some more comments. First of all, super chat from Manny says that we have the wheels, Adam, and the power brakes. We have a V8 with 3 cylinders at the moment. We need pistons, 3 mids minimum. Don't know if we get them, though. They might say we get 2 midfielders in. Say, for instance, United went out and bought Anderson and Baleba, or Wharton and Baleba. We got 2 of the 3. I think everyone's happy with that. Then you've got Orozco coming in, a couple of academy players, and Kobbie Mainoo to also sit alongside them there. Is that enough? Is that enough? I don't think it is. I think we need another midfielder on top. I would go out and I would be looking at the likes of Hackney, João Gomez, Baleba, and Wharton and Anderson as well. So 2 of the 3, and then Hackney, Gomez, still off types of players on top of that. That's what United need. That's the depth that you need, because Kobbie Mainoo can obviously then move in and out and potentially cover Bruno Fernandes in the 10. You don't need to buy the 10, so Kobbie's in and out. Bruno, you can swap them around. You've already got you covered then in your other 2 6s and 8 roles behind the number 10. Another striker in to help Benjamin Sesko along. Be interesting to see what happens with him this summer as well. And then you're looking at fullbacks and a centre-back on top of that. And I think that's Manchester United moving forward. I think that's being proactive. 6 players. 6 players. 6 or 7 players. 6, 7. That's what United need. How many summer signings will United make? We've got a poll running right now. That's been running for the majority of the show. We've nearly had 1,000 votes on that poll. Give me your thoughts. 2 to 3, 4 to 5, or more than 5. Only 7% of the poll is saying more than 5 signings come the summer for Manchester United. 2 to 3 is winning it. That's not enough. That's nowhere near enough for Manchester United. That is crazy. Don't forget to check out the link in the live chat. That is the link to OK Jerseys, our matchday sponsors. I know it's not matchday, but they have just released the latest Stone Roses gear as well. Get that for as little as £15, people, on that website through that link now. The link is also in the description. And don't forget to get your Spot the Ball game going as well on BOTB. They were our sponsors the other day as well, working alongside them as well, giving you a chance to win your dream card. The link is the top link in the description, everybody, on that. Carl's put his request in there. 27 months a member. Legend, Carl. Absolute legend. And Legacy Chat has come in. He says, we need a right back, a centre back, 3 central midfielders, a striker, maybe a winger. I just don't see us getting 2 big names in central midfield. It will be Baleba and a couple of other lesser ones. Who are the lesser ones, Carl? What would you say they are? Are they a Hackney? Are they a João Gomez? Is that enough? I'm pretty certain that Baleba's nailed on. I think Balaba's one of the big ones. If United went out, and this is what I would be impressed with, if United went out and got Baleba, Anderson, João Gomez, bang. Thank you. That's Manchester United, and I won't have a go at Ineos's recruitments for the summer in the midfield area. Happy with that. Stage one. Priority. Then you go out and you get maybe a winger, but I think we actually need another left back. I do. We desperately need a left back at Manchester United to cover Luke Shaw for any potential injuries to come. But go out there and get a top left back. Another centre back alongside keeping Harry Maguire for another year. Yep, you heard it. I think that's what needs to happen. And then a striker to play alongside and help Benjamin Sesko. If that is an older player, I'm all right with that. Just to have that extra bit of experience coming in. Another player there that is going to work within a Champions League squad. Because let's be honest, anyone who's going to these other clubs is not guaranteed a start. You're not guaranteed a start at Chelsea, at Liverpool, at Arsenal, at Manchester City. Every top player knows that if you're going to a Champions League club that's competing in that competition, you are never going to be a guaranteed starter. It's the same with every European club in the world. So people saying that they're not going to go to United and play second fiddle, they will if they're in the Champions League because they know the games are there. Look at the players that sat on the bench for Arsenal, for City, for Liverpool. Look at them. Look at the players on the bench for Chelsea as well. You need that depth, and players understand this and know that they're going to get that chance. And if they take their opportunity, then they're going to get rewarded with it. That's something that people always bring up and say they're not going to come and play second fiddle. Well, they will if you're in the Champions League. What do you think Eberechi Eze is thinking right now, sat on the bench? What do you think the likes of, for instance, Ekitike at the start of the season with Alexander Isak and all of them signings that are coming in, players, the quality that's on the benches for the top three right now, look at them players. And they're not moaning. They know where they are. They know the importance of European seasons and campaigns and squad depth. And that's what the big players look at. Elliot Anderson knows wherever he goes this summer, he might not be guaranteed to play every game like he is because he's one of the players that's started and competed every minute of every single Premier League game this season. By the way, on Elliot Anderson, injury record, another big plus point as to why we go for him. So yeah, he's not going to play every minute of every game next season. He knows this when he makes the move. So no harm in bringing in three top quality midfielders. When you're looking at the player next to you and looking at the quality that he is and the squad that you're in, you have to accept that that's the level that brings you top trophies and top honours. Look at Barcelona. Rashford can't even start games. Still having a great season and wants to stay. There's levels, isn't there? United need to get back up there and actually act like a big club. You need that depth, and it has to be quality in depth. Otherwise, you don't compete for them trophies. And you don't sustain. If you buy players like we did last summer, that's great. But does that give you top four guaranteed? No. We're talking about competing for the Champions League and the other trophies and staying in the top four. Staying in the top four only comes with top quality depth. And United don't have that, and we won't have it unless we buy 6 players at least. There we go. That's it anyway. I'm not convinced that we get any of these players, by the way. Obviously, Champions League qualification gives me a lot more hope, but we will see, won't we? That is our show all wrapped up today. Thank you so much. Cheers, everybody. The poll right now with 1,000 votes. Get your votes in now just to take it over 1,000. That would be great as well, everyone. 2 to 3 signings this summer is the majority of the vote on that one. How many summer signings will United make? 2 to 3 is 56% of that poll vote right now. Not many confident that United are going to get more than 5 signings. We need more than 5 signings. It's as simple as that. Anyway, moving forward, thank you, everybody. Like we said, now we are full throttle leading into the summer transfer window and all the news that comes with that. We'll keep you updated with everything that happens. I'll let you know what's going on with the academy. I'll let you know with everything else that's going on around the club. We can fully concentrate on this season now that the January transfer window has closed. Thank you, everybody, again, for all of your contributions, for all of your comments. Please do keep your comments coming in when the live has finished as well. I will look through some of them comments later. I'll catch up with you all in a bit. Also, have a great day, everybody. I'll speak to you all later on.